Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about dashboards and let's start with the definition.
Dashboard is a part of a car or maybe of a plane. When pilot or driver is sitting close to steering wheel, he will find a lot of different measurement. For example, speedometer, how fast is driving your car or how high is flying your plane. Also some other stuff. This could be lamps, this could be digits, this could be arrows and so on. In business, we also use dashboard to show our revenue per year or maybe collection amount per hour, maybe spin rate or some other stuff. This is to help everyone, to staff, to managers, to owner, to understand, are we work as the same rhythm as tomorrow or yesterday, or we are working faster?
And when it comes to building blocks or maybe even the purpose of the dashboard, like what kind of the task it should be solving and how exactly it could be done efficiently so that the owner or the viewer of the dashboard can get what they need.
You know, I'm always getting sad when I'm saying about dashboards. I know there's a very powerful skill, but not too many people attend this in School of Troubleshooters. And maybe I couldn't explain the same answer you asked. Usually, dashboards contain of three layers. First is so-called daily layer. It's about how to monitor. So what is happening right now? It could be updated like several times per second or several times per minute, and it doesn't contain any summarized data, just what is going now. Second layer is operational control. This could be summarized up to 1 hour, up to several hours, or up to day. And middle management always look just for this information, because if you are late, if you have some trouble, if you have some stock in your process, maybe you will miss some digits and you could several hours to restore your usual level. And third level is for top managers, and they're looking for weeks, for months, and for quarters.
And when it comes to different levels of the building dashboards, you mentioned one of the dimensions, but probably it's also might be the content that they want to see, or maybe the granularity of the content. So what might be those levels or dimensions or even steps in order to achieve your goal?
You're right, I missed several dimensions. First dimension, as I told, it's a time. For example, on first level, it could be like seconds. On second level, it could be like hours or days. On third level, it could be weeks and months. But second dimension, which may be even more important at the time, how many people are involved in this summarizing. For example, usually monitoring is for one person, but if operational control, this is about like 5 to 100. But if we talk about top management, it could be like hundreds to 1,000 people which are involved in the same problem. For example, it could be cold calling, it could be collection, it could be underwriting, and so on. Third dimension, it could be quality or so-called spin rate. Spin rate, how fast we do something. For example, if I make a calls in a contact center, usually we measure several digits, which also indicators, which will show on our dashboards. For example, first, how many calls could I do per hour? Second, how many I could collect per hour? Third, how many rejects I will get in a tube? Or maybe how often people will make a second call after talking to me.
And when it comes to the mistakes that people make while looking at the dashboards or while building the dashboards, if we also can like look into this from a different dimensions, what they possibly would be.
This is really great question I was never asked for. You know, when we compare days, they are not equal. For example, if we have 21st,
24th.
24th of December, it would be a very speedy day. Everyone would in a hurry and you could make, for example, 200 calls. But for example, if it would be like 10th of January in Russia, it would be a very slow day. Everyone was taking words in a very slow manner and you couldn't make even 100 words. So you should know how many working days in a week and what is the speed of the week. And if you have a business, for example, for 3 years or more, you could have these digits, but you couldn't expect that people, your people and people on the market would talk the same way, would pay the same way, would pick up the goods in the basket on the internet shop in the same way. So weather, rain, and other conditions will affect people in your company and also on the market.
You also mentioned that like the data is talking. So it also brings me to our next question: like, how do we make sure that the data that we want to show to the end user or even to ourselves is literally like speaking to us? How we can make it like so expressive? And I also do have an example in mind. One of the students, his name is Yakov. He wrote a quite interesting article where they were using a paper and they were updating it like a daily or occasionally, so that it's every time it's something new. So how do we make sure we could deliver the right message?
Let's express in indirect way. For example, we are fraud callers, and we should make a lot of calls to confirm that this is the right people, which are in a good manner take our credit, for example, for cameras, for phones, for some other stuff. We should make these calls, but if we will make a long call, it would cost to our company too much. So we will have like a small timer, and it will go in, for example, Arial narrow font, size 14. And it would be like a usual one. But after, for example, 34 seconds, it would become bold. After 72 seconds, it become twinkle, мигающий.
Yeah, blinking.
And after, for example, 105 seconds, it would become red. So we have several steps. Usual one, then bold, then blinking, then red.
And sometimes in the dashboards, obviously, it could lead maybe to additional questions. So whether it should be ability to, like maybe even tell a better, like a deeper story. So for example, let's say if we want to dig into the data or maybe see additional context, so how we can do it. And maybe I can give a bit of example, like let's say in the Google Analytics, they also have this thing called annotation. So when you see the chart with the data, you also have a little note explaining what exactly happened in that day, so that you have more context. And if needed, there might be a link to actually explain specific cases. So how do we make sure that we have this like a horizontal or vertical data navigation?
It's so-called drill down. If we have digits, we could go up or we can go down. It depends how many rows do we have. If, for example, we are just usual linear worker, we couldn't go up. But for example, if we are middle management, we have one level up and one level down. If we are top manager, we have 3 level down and we have nothing up. But when we have this digit or indicator, usually we have like up to 7 so-called corners. 4 corners will lead you to something. For example, corner which would be left and down will show what was today, before this time. The same, just opposite, will show prediction, how you will work with the same tempo. If you have another diagonal, we will see as yesterday and tomorrow. If we will see in linear way, we will see week before and week prediction. So there are different buttons to show what was or what would be predicted. And on these screens, where nothing changed in real-time mode, you'll have some short descriptions, but not often, because when you are going to work with dashboards, as little information on the dashboard, the easy to understand.
And sometimes there is also like a saying that we need to share our data with a broader team. But what I kind of observed in my little experience, sometimes when you make those dashboards, like you put them in the public places, like a first few days, it's really interesting. People saying, yes, at last we can see the information. And then dashboards will become like as a part of the wallpaper. So basically no one will be looking into data and they just get used to it. So how to go about this one, whether it's really important to entertain people or whether we need to make something that actually would attract their attention so that relevant people still can see the relevant information.
When you have a customers, it's nice to have a gamification, but if you have an employee, better to use salarization. So if you have some digits, better apply them to the formula to calculate bonus or something like this. You could have several prizes. For example, the fastest, the smoothest, the I don't know, something which was done per hour, per day, per week, or how many likes this employee will заслужить,
Deserved.
deserved
Earned.
earned by a network, and so on. So, for example, when I was chief of operational centers, I have a lot of people which mass job description. So they were doing the same job in thousands of people. So I was giving them several prizes, and each week we make this like a gambling, and everyone wants to know who wins this time. And there were several rules. For example, if Maxim Golub already was for this prize 3 times, he would miss at least 1 week. So he couldn't have a chance to have it once more to make this chances equal for others.
And my last question will be how knowing about dashboards would help to make this world a better place?
Maxim, I don't know how to live without dashboards. For example, our podcasts, when we start, we also look at dashboard and we know which number will film. Yes, I do not know the theme, it's depend on you, but I know the number and I know how many numbers we will create during the time which are already отведенный,
Allocated.
for our activity. So next year we will finish and we will maybe start another kind of videos, maybe more deepest one, maybe with VR or something like this. When, for example, I work with other activities like writing articles or maybe writing books, I also use dashboards. I know how much time should I spend for this activity, and I know how many these items I have already processed, and I know I am in time or not. And when I am in time, I am happy and ready, but usually I am not on track, so I should hurry. And these dashboards, they like pushing me back.
Имейте инструмент, чтобы поторапливать себя и делать вещи заранее или минимум вовремя. А мы рассмотрели навык дэшборды и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира.